Now Barcelona are crowned champions at this point, 14 points clear of Real Madrid.
For Barcelona. Oh! It is sensational! Daniel with the layout. Torres! 2-0!
These are how things are looking as Barcelona secure back-to-back titles and a third Liga title in 4 seasons. All of this with a 14-point gap over Real Madrid.
Barcelona are Spanish champions again. This time under really special circumstances, because for the first time in the history of the club, they've won the league right in front of their arch rivals. Yes, thanks to a stunning free kick from Marcus Rashford and a brilliant team goal finished off by Fermin Lopez, Barcelona have been crowned Spanish champions for the 2nd year running. But it wasn't just about the win. This was a tactical masterclass from Hansi Flick, from team selection to tactical approach and important substitutions in critical moments. Hansi Flick delivered a lesson in what seemed to be Arbeloa's first and possibly his last Clasico in charge of Real Madrid. But before we get too ahead of ourselves, we need to analyse the tactical solutions Hansi Flick deployed to win this game, but more importantly, how these changes could impact Barcelona's ambitions in the coming season. So to start things off, why don't we talk about some tactics? Now, Hansi Flick started in his usual 4-2-3-1 while his opposite number chose to go with Real Madrid's traditional 4-4-2. But it wasn't just about the formations, it was the lineup and the tactics that made all the difference in this game. Real Madrid started with a front two of Vinicius Jr. and Gonzalo Garcia, with Jude Bellingham, Tchouaméni, Camavinga and Brahim Diaz starting in midfield. It was clear Arbeloa wanted strength and pace in the team to be able to match Barcelona in midfield on target to hit them on the counter. Now remember, in the previous 2 games against Getafe and then Osasuna, Hansi Flick had opted to go with Fermin and Rooney Bargi on the flanks, focusing more on stacking the midfield and trying to penetrate through the central areas rather than the flanks. Well, against Real Madrid, he switched the plan completely. This time, he started Rashford and Fermin on the flanks for 2 main reasons: to take advantage of the spaces in behind Real Madrid's defensive line, but even more importantly, to keep Alexander-Arnold and Fran Garcia pegged back to prevent them from helping Real Madrid in attack. This not only caused Madrid problems in defense, but kept Vinicius and Diaz isolated on the flanks with no support. That made it easy for Gavi and Pedri to combine with the fullbacks and double up on them. It was the perfect strategy on the day, and while Real Madrid found it difficult to penetrate Barcelona's defense, Barcelona were creating chances at the other end, and within 20 minutes they were already 2-0 up. But if we want a clear example of this, let's start with Ferran Torres' goal. Now look, just before the pass is played into Fermin out on the left, he's playing on the outside while Cancelo is occupying the half spaces. This allowed Alexander-Arnold to stay tucked in, which keeps the defensive line intact. But what Barcelona needed here was to stretch Real Madrid's defense in order to isolate the centre-backs. So Cancelo steps out of the half space back into the full-back position, which switches Fermin back into a left winger. So now Alexander-Arnold is obliged to step out to put pressure on him. This immediately leaves the 2 centre-backs, Asensio and Rudiger, isolated against Dani Olmo and Ferran Torres. As soon as this happens, it's a 2v2 and Dani Olmo starts his decoy run into the box, dragging Rudiger along with him. Fermin spots it and immediately plays the ball into him. Now this is where it all unravels for Real Madrid. Asensio doesn't read the play, it's too quick and precise from Barca. He doesn't track the run of Ferran Torres, who was the main target all along. Now because he doesn't track him, when Dani Olmo pulls off this brilliant back heel, the entire defense is split and Ferran Torres has all the time and space in the world to aim at. He does brilliantly to bring it under control and fires it past Courtois and into the back of the net. Barcelona go 2-0 up, game over. Now guys, of course we can't get through this video without talking about this man right here, Marcus Rashford. A man who has had 26 direct goal contributions this season, and yet for some reason the club and a large section of the fan base are still skeptical about keeping him. It's astonishing. You look at the numbers, especially for a player who isn't a regular starter, and you're like, this guy is a definite signing. I mean, if you compare his first year to that of Rafinha or even Ousmane Dembele at Barca, and then the fact that we signed each of these players for way more money than Manchester United are currently requesting, it really seems like a no-brainer. But I think it's when you start to look past the numbers and cast a critical eye on the qualitative aspect of Rashford's performances, that's when some cracks begin to emerge. Because in football, a player's performance is never measured in isolated starts alone, but in the overall impact on the team. I mean, otherwise, Mbappe would be celebrated right now at Real Madrid with 85 goals in 2 seasons at the club, but he's not. Despite scoring this many goals, Real Madrid have not won a single trophy in the time that he's been there, and the team chemistry has hit an all-time low since his arrival. So when you try to align Rashford's numbers with his impact on the team, it still leaves quite a bit to be desired. His work rate, for example, needs to improve massively to match Rafinha's impact when he's absent. And then his clinicality also needs to be better. Rashford tends to score the difficult goals and then for some reason miss the really easy chances. A thing we've seen before with a certain Ousmane Dembele while he was still at the club. On a positive though, Rashford still has great physical strength, he's still got his explosive pace, and his shot power is apparently the highest at the club.
He's gonna shoot! Oh, what a goal!
So with qualities like this, it's simply a case of a bit of refinement, and this guy could really hit new heights in Hansi Flick's system next season. Remember, it wouldn't be the first time we've seen players struggle in the first season at Barca, and then when they become more settled, absolutely fly off the next. Barcelona is, after all, a very unique club with a unique system, which can be a bit of a challenge to assimilate. So hopefully this all goes well and we can come to an agreement that benefits all parties come the start of next season. I just thought the way Hansi Flick deployed Rashford and also Fermin Lopez in this game was brilliant. And I want to talk about Fermin Lopez because for me, this guy has been our most impressive player of the season. The records he's created, coming in clutch in key moments, and most importantly, his consistency. This is a guy we were going to sell to Chelsea for 15 million at the start of the season. This would have been the biggest robbery of the decade. Remember, this guy is not a natural winger, but it's his understanding of the game and the system, the first touches, the skills, and most importantly, something I always talk about on the channel, his self-awareness. Knowing your strengths and your weaknesses and then optimizing your approach for both. He knew he didn't have the speed of Rashford, and you could see this in the opening minutes of the game. We often saw him get the better of Alexander-Arnold with his first touch, and then because he didn't have the speed to peel away from him, Alexander-Arnold would manage to make a recovery tackle. So Fermin recognized this, so he stopped trying to play like Lamine Yamal. He recognized that he was there to neutralize Alexander-Arnold going forward, and that's what he did all game long. And I know Pedri was easily the player of the match because Pedri is magnificent, he just is. But I thought Fermin for me was a close second. I thought he had one of those Sergio Busquets performances where you have to focus on him in order to see the game. I thought he deserved a standing ovation not just for what he did in this game, but what he's done across the entire season. But in the coming days and weeks, we will talk more about player performances across the season in more depth and more transfer updates and analysis, so stay tuned so you catch those when they drop. Time to hear from you in the comments. What did you think about Hansi Flick's tactical approach in this game, and what are you looking forward to seeing in the coming season? In the meantime, let's celebrate this remarkable achievement, 2 league titles in 2 seasons for Hansi Flick and the team. Also, remember to connect with me on IG and let's discuss more about the team and the club. Until next time guys, see you soon and Visca El Barca.